And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. Joined again, Sean Gervais from Orbisx CRM, as well as Marshall Hill from the Pints and Polishing Podcast, Hyper Clean Car Care Products. I tried something a little bit different there today. But thank you for not interrupting me this time. That was salute, man.
Try to let you roll.
Thanks, man. What are you sipping on? Something Moon?
Yeah, Blue Moon.
Mm,
But Blue
Blue
Moon's
Moon.
come out with a light now. I mean, that came out with it maybe like a year ago or so. It's not brand new.
Okay, okay.
Uh, and we drink Corona Premier is our
Mm,
our
that's
number
the
one
go-to.
in the stock, right? Like
Okay.
easy. But every once in a while we'll grab these because it switches it up a little bit. It's just enough citrus, but it's just a real light. So I had them in the fridge and I grabbed them.
Okay. Is it a little bitter? I like things that are bitter. No? Oh, okay.
No,
Sweet.
no.
Sweet side.
Blue Moon's just like it's called like a citrus wheat. So it's like
Okay.
uh you ever drink the German beers like those
I've
uh,
had one or two,
like
yeah. Like,
Hefeweizen,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. I can't
so
pronounce them, so thank God you were trying.
I think they really call them
Strudel
Hefeweizen.
noodle? I don't know.
Yeah, all those. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
like
yeah.
the origination of, and then the American version uses a similar hop, but
Okay.
we'll call them, wheats, or we'll call them a little different
Yeah.
type, but very similar, the same style from the original beers that, like the monks used to go around covered up. And,
Nice.
you
Yeah.
remember you ever watch those movies or something like
Yeah, yeah.
where it's wild. Yeah. Like the original, they're like the original people that were smuggling beer around were
Yeah.
monks. Like,
It's like, huh?
"Hmm,
What?
praise
Wouldn't
Jesus and
suspect
get
them.
drunk. Here we
Wouldn't
go."
suspect
Like,
them. Exactly. That's the it's funny actually, on that note, quick family story on my side. And then I have some news from Ontario. But so I was reading this book that we had. It was one of I think it was my great aunt or something. Anyway, she put together this book about like our family tree, and there was articles, news articles from this. I don't know if it was a newspaper or a book or something from whatever city. Right? There was a city called Renfrew. It was near where my family's from. Anyway, she puts together this thing, and I'm reading up on some of the family members and stuff. Most of it's just kind of normal. Oh, so and so raised horses, or so and so did this, that, whatever, just basic shit. And then there's this one, it was so and so was arrested with some crime family that's here, Mazurkowski's or something. I don't remember the family name, but there was some like crazy Italian. It was kind of like the Scarface of that town at the time. And I was like, what the hell was he arrested for? And they were following the trains because there was the prohibition, and they were drilling into the bottom of the trains and funneling out the wine. And then they were like, that's how they got their start in business and everything. I was like, holy shit, it's in my genes, man. Like, it's just in my genes. I know I should have read that and been like, oh, come on, uncle. Like, you're a piece of shit. But me, I was like, there it is. I told you, you're born with it. You're just like,
so you had a weird uncle, huh?
oh, yeah, many of them, not just one. But one of my aunts had like 32 kids. That's
I've
something.
got this is weird from an uncle, not my uncle.
All right. I'm scared now.
I found these over at my mom's house.
Holy
These
sh!
are handmade weights by my dad's
That's
uncle. They're
wild.
roughly about 100 years old, 25 pounds.
That is crazy.
Oh,
Oh my god, man.
I mean, you
That's
think like it's
crazy. Damn. Man, that's the kind of thing you just lift and you just feel like a man. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing, like, you just like
solid, right? You just go,
Yeah.
wow, that's interesting. I mean, it's weird what some strange family members do. We also have a weird thing, weird family member, not my immediate family, but so speaking of weird uncles doing weird things,
Oh boy.
I told my stepson after this story that his mom told him, I go, well, that's your family member, right? That's your uncle.
That's your uncle, that's your, like, immediate family.
This guy decides to leave Brazil on a bicycle
Okay. How
and
far
he's going to ride a bike all the way to America.
holy has he ever seen a map?
He's now stuck in Honduras,
Of course.
pleading for people on Facebook to send money to his Pix account, which is basically like their, I don't know, think of it like Cash App,
Yeah.
right? But it's more like Zelle. The way
Yeah.
they do it, it's more like a Zelle thing. And yeah, he's now stranded in Honduras.
Man, that's
I
crazy.
guess apparently did a video of bathing in a river,
Oh
like,
shit,
and like they're laughing, and I go, dude, that's your uncle.
that's your uncle. Yeah,
Like, that's your family.
yeah,
He's on
yeah.
his way here to see you.
That's
Like,
wild.
what? What?
Oh my god, yeah, that's crazy. It's almost like the Forrest Gump story. Like
Yeah, like, dude,
I just
dude,
kept
what do you
running.
mean? Like, they're like, should we send them money? I go, a plane ticket money? Like,
Plane ticket. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
don't give
That's what
him
he needs.
anything. What is he gonna do? Run out in 2 weeks when he's still? It's gonna take him years. I mean,
Yeah,
and let
that's
alone you think he's gonna get past the border?
no
Like,
chance. Does he still have the bicycle?
yeah. Well,
Okay,
what
that's
happens if he gets a flat? I'm surprised he hadn't had one yet. But geez,
yeah.
if he's gonna,
The
something's gonna
tires
happen.
don't
Like,
last forever. Yeah, yeah, 100%. That's crazy.
oh crap. Yeah.
Oh man, I know. Obviously, he speaks Portuguese. Does he speak any Spanish? He'll get by, of course, but oof,
Not my family member. I don't know.
fair enough. Yeah, yeah. That's it, man.
He
That's
probably doesn't. He probably doesn't.
yeah.
He
Probably doesn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
probably
I mean, he
doesn't.
could. A lot of words are similar, but like
Yeah,
I
but
watch a
they're
movie in
also not
Portuguese.
like,
I can
it's
understand.
really hard for Mexican people and Portuguese, like Mexican people, people that speak Spanish and
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
speak Portuguese. It is difficult to,
I mean, let's be
yeah,
honest. I know why he said Mexican. He's going to spend at least 3 years of his journey going through Mexico. Holy shit. That's wild. Oh man, that's crazy. And he's doing this alone? Like, what did he bring with him? I'm always curious. This is kind of a desert
backpack.
island question, right? You're on a desert island. What three items do you bring with you? Like, that's
Oh,
literally this guy's scenario right now.
you drove your bike
What
out
did
of
he bring?
Brazil. What'd you take? A backpack and what? Like, what else did you take? Like, yeah, like
Damn.
they apparently
Yeah.
ran out of money. How the hell that happened?
Yeah, yeah. What were you doing? Just keep biking. That's
Well, what did you
crazy.
plan? $100? Like, what the? How'd you run out
Yeah.
of money?
What was the plan? Oh my God. Yeah,
You
I
know,
would have.
Brazilian. He was probably partying the whole way there. You know,
It's true. Hey, yeah, he spent it all in picanha.
I'm headed to America. Like every town's just getting
True.
drunk. Like
Yeah,
shit, I'm out of money.
yeah, yeah. How'd that happen? Hasn't even left Brazil. Damn, that's wild, man. Holy shit, that tops my story out
Hmm.
max. That's crazy.
All
Damn.
right, so I want to pick your brain. I'll ask you this question because there's always in sales, you always get like no's, right? Like you get a
Yeah,
no,
of course.
and we in sales, right? For those of you listening, you want to go sell a ceramic coating, sell a full detail, sell somebody anything,
Yeah. It's always objections.
unless you're this out of the womb amazing talker and you can just basically get, which there are people by nature,
That's true.
incredible salesmen and can talk people into anything. If you're not that person, which most of us aren't, well, we hear no a lot,
Mm,
a lot. And so in sales, you're supposed to actually have rebuttals, right? Things that you say back when somebody says, no, they're not interested. What is the craziest no, I can't get XYZ that you're selling?
Craziest no we've received, I guarantee you, isn't a common one that other people have received. And you still have to find a way to have a rebuttal to it. But so where our shop's located, it's kind of the central hub for car thefts. So there's car thefts all over. There was something like 146 cars a week stolen here for the first couple months of the year.
Was Gone in 60 Seconds film there?
It was they but they even stole the film, so I don't know. But yeah,
Great
like
movie though. Nicolas Cage, right?
oh,
Oh.
great movie. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And great car selections. I will
Mhm.
say that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I love how there was that, like they tied in that the plot twist of there's that one, like the great white buffalo that always gets
Yeah.
away, that one car.
Eleanor, isn't that what it is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eleanor, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was nice how they tied that in, because every thief, I imagine, has that kind of
Mhm.
that crippling, there's that
Mhm.
one safe they can't crack kind of thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, here, car theft capital of the country. It's insane. Our insurance rates even have a premium attached to them, depending on the make and model that you drive. Because they know they're like, well, your car's likely to get stolen. That's just what's going to happen. There's people on the news literally daily talking about how I don't know what to do now. My car's been stolen twice in the last 2 months. Like it's because they steal your car, they wait for you to get the new one, and then they come back and steal the new one, and then they just repeat the process. And they see them on the
Because
like
most people think, oh, it'll never happen again.
exactly, and they're like coming back for you. So much so that our like governor or whatever of the city, he's called a premier, but they put out a press release thing and they said the best thing you can do because they started escalating to home invasions to get the keys and stuff. They said the best thing you can do is just put the keys by the front door so that they don't have to look too far for them and your family will be safe and they can just take the vehicle and go. And so then the whole joke now is what should we do? Just put them out with a plate with cookies and milk and just hand it to them? You know what I mean? And so that's the whole thing going around right now. But a new industry's popped up where people are getting these remote controlled, I don't know, pillars or pylons or something that come up out of your driveway behind your vehicle to prevent the vehicle from backing out without causing serious damage and then just not moving. So it's a big business. You can get them installed in your property and it'll reduce your insurance and so on and so forth. So a lot of people are opting for that. But
Cool. People came up with an
yeah,
idea to solve a problem.
solve the problem. Absolutely. Now it's
Hmm.
not cheap, but here, they only pay out if your car's stolen if they retrieve the vehicle. Yeah, so if your vehicle's stolen and it takes 12 months and they haven't located it, the insurance company does not pay until they've retrieved the vehicle. It's insane. So myself, probably shouldn't say this on the air, but I think I have before. I drive a Range Rover and we take a lot of precautions to make sure that we call her Miss Piggy. She drinks a lot. She's the SVR, and we make sure that she's safe. So we take a lot of precautions for that. Because of that, we actually get a discount on our insurance. Oh, sorry, we get a discount on the premium that we should pay for having a high theft vehicle. But it's nuts. A buddy of mine works at the Land Rover dealer, and he said they've gotten so sophisticated now. He said it's like they hired some Italian masons to do this. They had these perfect cut lines by the back, by where the lights are, and they can take the two wires, boop boop, and then now they have access to the vehicle. They have signal jammers. They have all kinds of stuff. At our dealership, two Range Rovers got stolen, a lot of CRVs, things like that. So we had boulders put in encompassing the whole thing. I can share a photo in the group. We have boulders literally all around our dealership now. It's not for looks, it's strictly so that people can't take a vehicle and just drive right off after hours. What people started to do, because they get a little ballsy, is they come in, I'd like to take a test drive, da da da, they give a license. If the person's not checking it too thoroughly, it's a bullshit license, and the guy just gets in and he's gone. So someone took a Range Rover like that last year. Now we're taking measures a little more serious. Like we've got like 3 or 4 G wagons there. We've got 2 Lambos. We can't play around with those cars. You know what I mean? Like if that's gone, you feel the pinch. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are. You feel the pinch. But anyway, so back to the craziest no that we've got, or objection, I should say, was we had someone, we were talking to them about some, paint protection film, ceramic coating, and we said, well, if you can't afford the PPF protection right now, or you don't want to offer that, we do have ceramic coatings. They don't offer the same level of protection in the same way, but what they do is, and then we highlight all the benefits. And they said, yeah, I'm not really sure if I want to do that. And we said, well, you have a brand new car. Like you're literally going to have your first rock chip before your first oil change. We jump in all those kinds of things with the PPF side. And then we say, think of the ease of maintenance. You want your car to look nice. It's brand new. Keep that feeling going. We jump in all our regular sales process. Brand new car. Why wouldn't you want to protect it? And they said, it'll likely be stolen before it's paid off. So I'm not really interested in protecting it. And that's a hard one to come back from because what do you say to that? Like, true, it will probably be stolen, and the thieves are going to now have a nice ceramic coated vehicle that gets shipped off overseas. But there are ways to combat that as well. One of the ways that we found is we just use our personal vehicles and we say, listen, we know the city's getting crazy. It's getting out of hand. You should definitely protect your vehicle. Not only should you protect it in ways that makes it easier for you to maintain, but you should also pick up one of these. We show them those little bars that you can put on the windshield or on the steering wheel. we say, this is a great way to help, and it'll reduce your insurance by like $500. And then we lead into a joke. We say, because we just helped you save $500 on your insurance, you could just apply that towards the ceramic coating. I'm going to get a bonus. I get to, take care of my kids, take my wife out to a nice steak dinner, da 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 da. You lean into that kind of side of things. So you have to have a rebuttal prepared for every scenario. Now, mind you, the first time this happened, well, first, second, third time it happened, you kind of just, yeah, you're right. All right, we'll skip that part of the service. What do you
I
say?
wouldn't know what
You know
to
what I mean?
say either. I'd be like,
Yeah, especially when you know it's true. It's like, holy shit, like vehicles are stolen here with that frequency. It's crazy. And we're so close to a port though. So in Montreal and they don't really check the port manifests and all that kind of stuff. Vehicles just end up there and you're dealing with it's basically two different states. So you've got one state saying we have a car stolen, and the other state saying, it's not a problem, we'll take our time with it. Because they don't really care. So they take their time, and then by the time that boat leaves in the morning, you're now tracking your air tag as it goes through international waters, and it's gone. That's what happens. But anyway, it's ceramic coated though. But
where's it end up?
yeah, so most common ones end up on west coast of Africa. A lot of them before used to end up in Lebanon, and then Lebanon introduced new things about the age of vehicles. So now the newer ones will end up in Lebanon. The older ones, they end up usually they filter their way through Africa somewhere. Occasionally, we've heard stories, but occasionally they end up like East Europe, things like that. But it's more rare. Never Asia, not as yet. That might be more a West Coast thing because they're closer. I assume if I was to talk to a shop owner or something or a dealership in like Vancouver, maybe Asia's a hot market for them. For us, Asia's a hot market for selling cars. So
Mhm.
like we could pick up a G Wagon here for like 265, and then we could sell it over there for 400 or 500,000 depending on the model of the year. But Asia's more a hot market for buying. They have to tie up a lot of their money in assets. That's the
But
problem. If
their
not,
culture is also more about doing right things. Whether or not we believe Chinese are doing
yeah,
right things or not, there's a
that's
lot of
true.
things they do wrong.
There is
Trust
that
me.
like social justice that a lot
But
of
there is, right? There's this
yeah.
saving face. They're not just right. Asia is more than just the China, right? You got Japan, you got all the Asian culture in general has a we've got to make sure we do think, have this face
It's
of
kind
that
of
we
that
do.
honor, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd rather follow my sword kind of thing. Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think they plenty of illegal things. Don't misunderstand me there. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
would bet you, yeah, you would find more headed to the Middle East and to Africa than
yeah, hundred
China. The
percent.
Chinese would be more better to make the
Yeah,
illegal thing
it
than to buy the
would
illegal
be
thing,
so much easier. Just set up a
right?
factory,
Once
make
again,
a
I'm not
thousand of
saying
them.
they're great. I'm just saying, like, they would much rather be like, "Hey, we made it. What are you talking about? Like,
It's
we
true.
didn't do anything wrong."
It's
We-
true though, yeah. It's funny. My previous CFO in another company, so we had he had a manufacturing plant there, and what they made was not the ink, but the cartridge casings for printers. So
Mhm,
whatever the ink would go into, they made the
mhm.
cartridges for them
Then you could like take the little.
and
Remember when
fill it
people
up
used to
and
do
everything.
that, and you would fill them back up?
Exactly, yeah. And I asked him one time. I said, Mark, how do you know the specs of all the printers before they've come out? Like you have the molds made already, and the printer's just now hitting the shelf. How do you know the molds? Because they change them every time. And he said, "Oh, it's simple. The guys down the road make the printers. They come to us and sell us the blueprints to make the molds to make the ink." So I said, okay, so here we have an American company that's trying to make money not on the printer. They make money on the maintenance, the parts, the ink, all that other stuff. And the company that's selling them the original equipment, the printer, is coming to you guys down the road and selling you the molds for the cartridges so you can make the counterfeit cartridges. And he said, absolutely. And I said, you're joking. He said, that's the way the world works, Sean. And I was like,
That's the way the
interesting.
world works.
Yeah, and like he was 62 at the time, I was 27, and I was like, interesting. That's the way the world works. And so you start to see the world in a,
Mhm.
huge different light. And it's funny because one time, the same quick side note, I told him one time, I said, at the time we had a company, we had a bunch of employee stuff, and I said, I think I'm the hardest working person here. out of all the people that are here. I said, my work ethic is unmatched, and I was quite proud of it. And he said, hard work? He says, you still sleep, right? I said, well, yeah, of course, everybody sleeps, Mark. What are you talking about? And he said, the guys in my factory, and this is a horrible part of the story, Mark wasn't a great guy, but it's just the way it was. He said, they leave to go home, and because of the distance they have to travel in such a short period of time, they don't have time for bathroom breaks. They have to cram so many people on the trains. He said they wear diapers. So they go from work, home, you're wearing a diaper so you can go to the bathroom. And he's like, those are the guys that work sort of hard. That's what he said to me. I was like, holy shit. And that's when I realized, Mark, when he says that's the way the world works, most of the world works in terrible ways. Doesn't mean that we have to. And I make a point of making sure that all my staff are treated well. They're all this and that. But I also make sure that I work just as hard as anyone will see me in the groups. I work just as hard as anybody else in my organization. And and people ask me, where's that drive come from? It's from those stories, from this guy, Mark.
Well, I'm
And
not the guy wearing a diaper. That's where it comes from.
exactly, yeah. It's like,
Try
holy
not to wear
shit,
diapers, motherfucker.
that's where it comes from. Exactly. But it was just crazy. But yeah, so our craziest rebuttal has been used towards the car theft market. Like even us, we have key drop boxes, but they go inside fully. A lot of people, they have it just on the outside. But Enterprise that was near us, we had to change our system when the Enterprise was broken into. And you got to think, when a car rental place is broken into and they steal the cars. So what they did is Enterprise, typical drop off. You open up the little thing, you put your key in, you close it. Life is good. They went in. They had I can't remember, but they had like chainsaws and something laser powered, some sort of like high pressured laser beam thing. They cut right through the glass. They tried first with the chainsaw for some reason. Anyway, they got in, took all the keys. So now that same Enterprise, they have this in-floor safe. So you put your key in the drop box. When you close it, it opens a safe door. The keys fall in, and then it closes, and it's now trapped in the floor. And it's beneath, like, I don't know, 25 plus inches of steel and concrete and all kinds of stuff. So you're not getting in there. It's going to take you a long time. But anyway, they were having huge theft problems. So for us, we looked at it and we said, geez, no more parking, customer vehicles. If they can't pick it up till morning, it stays inside the shop. We have our security system. We upgraded it. Our guy Alfonso, he's amazing. He came in and he said, listen, he said, you guys have more cameras in here than the system I just set up at one of the casinos nearby. And I said, perfect, because we have a store upstairs as well, a cell phone store, and that one was broken into 4 times. The first time they stole like $150,000 of inventory. They kept breaking in, like finding different ways and stuff. And once again, insurance, they don't pay out until someone's caught or items are recovered because they're like, could be fraud. So you got to make sure you have all your ducks in order, But anyway, so we went heavy duty on the security, but that being said, we use those things to our advantage. We let people know. We know the city has a lot of car thefts. When you leave your vehicle with us, it's 100% safe. We show them the security systems, things like that. So you got to kind of look at things in your business and see. And I think that's where the difference maybe between like if I was just a solopreneur versus a true businessman. Like I see aspects like that in my business, and I'm not just like, oh, I just hope I keep getting paid for these jobs I'm doing. I see things like that and I think ahead in the future. I'm like, we have this trend that's happening in the city. How can I use this to my advantage instead of a negative? Because if people are saying, I don't want to protect my vehicle, it might get stolen in 3 weeks, How do I flip that into a positive in a way? Be like, your vehicle might get stolen, but listen, while your vehicle's in our care, it's gonna be XYZ, and then provide them with solutions. It's not our business really to tell them how they can protect their vehicle, but in a way it is, if it means it's hindering our sales. And so this isn't really a tip, I just kind of fell into it. But if you know that like car thefts, for example, are prevalent in your city, why not send out some messages through Orbis X, like, saying, hey guys, by the way, this is what we've done to combat the recent car thefts, things like that. Now take that same subject of car thefts and apply it to anything else that's going on in your particular, city situation, whatever it is. A lot of people, as you know, they deal with different storms, hail damage, these kinds of things. Hey, it's the rainy season, the hurricane season. Here's some steps that you can take to protect your vehicle, and here's some steps we've taken to protect your vehicle. If you keep customers' cars in your shop overnight, let them know. By the way, there's storms that happen with frequency. We're going to make sure your vehicle's protected. We clean it, but we care about it. It's going to be inside, things like that. Lean into your strengths. And so anyway, I'm diving into a tip here. Sorry, my apologies. So that's the biggest rebuttal we got there was, it was a hard one to overcome, but doable. Everything's doable with the right approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. For my tip, I'm going to kind of take an idea that, I'd said something, a couple weeks ago, it seems like 2 or 3 weeks ago, about, hey, in sales, you need to learn whether or not you're selling a product and you're better at that, or you're better selling an idea, right? Remember that?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I had a phone conversation recently with a detailer, guy that's been detailing for a long time. You mentioned the word soulpreneur.
Mm,
That was a word you used. Is probably like the young person's word for what
yeah.
he described himself is he's self-employed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear that one a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Well, you used to hear it more,
It used
and
to
you
hear
really
more. When I
now
hear
only
that, I'm
hear it
like,
on like
you created a job.
paperwork and
Yeah,
forms and like, are you employed or are you self-employed, right? Like
yeah. That's
when
true.
you
I look
start,
at that in like government forms now. Yeah, that's true. New
right?
bank accounts or something like that. Yeah, it's like, what do you do?
But but then young guys are gonna go, well, I'm a entrepreneur.
Mm,
Some will define it out as soulpreneur, right?
yeah.
I'm going to stay with the self-employed because that's I the more I thought about it and hearing this guy talk through it and the way he said it, like, I love him and he says he's open about it. He actually tells people that he is self-employed, that he's not a business owner.
Mm, okay. He
Well,
makes it.
that just kind of started me for a second going, wait, what? Like,
Yeah,
keep talking, like interesting.
yeah.
Like,
What
no,
rationale is
I
there?
I enjoy being home and getting home to take care of my kids and have dinner with them. Like we do this, and I value that. Right? He valued everything that an employee values: being home on a regular time, uh, not working weekends, maybe just stop by if he needs to. And you go,
Hmm?
okay, he's not employed by somebody else.
Yeah.
He even said it. He goes, I go get jobs. Like normally by the time, as he says, well, I've been around long enough now. I don't have to go around and get them as much. I used to, the stuff would start slowing down. I'd have to go get a couple, but now I just have people that call me. Great. The whole time he's talking, I just go, is that the, is that the disconnect that so many people have? Is we are solopreneurs. We consider ourselves business owners. We consider ourselves, that's just a different word than a businessman. But is a solopreneur more like a self-employed person?
Hmm.
And he even said, like, I don't want to do the business. I'm just good with what I have, right? Like there is a level
Yeah.
that you're just willing to only go far enough before you actually, and Mildred, a guy that comes on our episodes, guy that listens to this episode's looking into Orbisex, hopefully he gets connected with you. He talks about how you have to have at least $125,000 a year to consider yourself a business.
Yeah.
I think we can take a lot of stress out of people's lives and out of worries, and actually take a lot out of when you go on Facebook groups and when you go watch people. And we always question, what do people know? Or how did it like, can you get good business advice from this person? Or this guy give good bit. Well, if you don't bring in, not even, let's just call it 75. I mean, just call yourself self-employed. And I really think if people will understand that there is a divide between somebody that does then want to do the regular things,
Hmm.
but is okay with not being home for dinner because they want to do the extra. They're okay with not, because they do want to spend the extra time. That isn't, I was trying to talk through this with my partner, Nick, and he's just basically like, yeah, man, this is what I've been talking about for so many years. And I go, I get it. I guess it was just a light bulb for me. Like,
Yeah.
there really is, if you're, and then I go, okay, I almost want to celebrate these people. And like I said, I think it takes a lot of weight off of them. You don't really should care anything about business other than how can this AI inside of Orbis X keep my customers logged into my schedule?
Instead
I
of keeping
don't really have
the-
anything else.
yeah.
That is the most freeing thing I think you could ever do. I mean, this guy shouldn't really be on, which he told me. He got off of all social media.
Mm.
He goes, it's too toxic. People are always trying to tell me what to do. I'm like, I get it.
Martin's like, holy shit. Yeah.
You are so many of
Yeah.
the industry,
Mhm.
self-employed. You don't want to be told what to do. You just want to argue, right? So many people want to
Yeah.
argue. Where he got into, apparently we got tagged in some group where people are mad that the way we talk about how to rinseless wash. I'm like, what? Like, just because we talked about the way we like to rinseless wash and how it's wrong to use a sponge, and these people that tell you to do a sponge are, they're whatever. I mean,
You know what?
so
Hold
then
on.
we get
I
tagged in
have to
this.
interrupt you for 2 seconds. I have to. Because there is a product, and this isn't a shameless plug, I swear to God, okay? I'm an ordained minister, from my lips to God's ears. I absolutely love Eco One for my truck, and I'll
Oh,
tell you
okay, good,
why.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, if anyone hasn't tried HyperClean's Eco One product, go to. Must have. I have 2 bottles in my truck at all times. There's one where the boot is, so I have it right where the spare tire is. The next one I have is so on my driver's side door, like there's like a little, I don't know, hidden compartment thing. I have a bottle in there. That one's usually always half full. I don't know, I always end up running out. But I'm telling you, the worst thing for me is I'm driving somewhere, car's looking immaculate, and like a bird shits somewhere, or something happens, or I just get a little kick up of dust, but I'm like, the car was looking so nice. I get out, I spray that on. I'm telling you, I never believed in the rinseless wash stuff. And then you told me about it when I was on an episode with you and Masterson. And I was like, holy, it was a game changer for me. Anyways,
So the way you're doing it there is
that's
technically
it.
called waterless.
Oh, waterless.
So
Sorry.
if
Yeah.
you're spraying it and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
rubbing it, that's waterless,
Mm,
right? Which is my point. I go,
okay.
listen,
That's
the
what.
first product I came to market with was in 2008, and it was
Yeah.
waterless. And the
Mm,
big reason I couldn't understand why people were using this rinseless sponge, I used to watch my dad and my mom and all the shit we joked about from the 80s and 90s about people scratching their car, and you're going to use the same thing that they're using and tell me it doesn't scratch.
yeah,
Like, doesn't make sense to me, right? So this is just stuff we talk about.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
people inside of this group, basically, here's the way it goes. They play this game called pin the tail on the donkey, right?
Uh,
You remember that when you were a kid
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
close behind you and
Yeah.
they'd,
And you
hey,
try
give
to,
me that,
yeah,
go back, hey. So we're the guys that are just talking about rinseless washing. They pin the tail on their my bad. It's off the clock, but I don't want my, no.
yeah.
They pin the tail on the donkey. And then everybody starts coming at us saying we're wrong for expressing our opinions. And you go,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Like,
Isn't that
okay.
hypocrisy just ridiculous?
Well, but I go, I get it. This is really where I go, self-employed business,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
I can no longer like that's just I'm telling you, this light bulb continues like, okay, I got it. All this business talk in which people say, oh man, you guys give such great business.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not needed anymore.
Mm.
Self-employed people, they know everything
What they
because that's
want, they know
why
what they're
they're
doing. Yeah,
self-employed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's so much that doesn't even need to be talked about in podcasting, in anything about business, because self-employed people don't need to know about business.
Yeah.
They don't want to know about business. They don't want to know
True.
about
What they
correct
did is they
processes to
crafted a job,
elevate
which is
your.
fine, without the boss. That's essentially what it is.
It is fine. Like I said, right?
Yeah.
I'm not upsetting, right? like I said, the light bulb
100%.
went
Yeah.
off of, okay, these are just two, this is just two
There's two
different things.
classes, I think, going
Two,
on of
yeah,
different, like two categories, not classes per se, but like categories. There's the self-employed and then there's the business owners, and neither one is better or worse. It's just whatever makes sense for you. Like I have a buddy, he's a realtor, and I keep telling him, I'm like, man, you could take this up a notch. You could do this next. I know he has goals and dreams.
yeah,
But he's like, yeah, I do want that.
fine.
Maybe
Well,
someday. He's
yeah,
like, for now, I'm okay with this. I keep trying to tell him automation. He can like, use AI, do this and that, follow the prospects. He's like, I like the personal touch. And he told me something that's resonated with me ever since. He said, bro, I look forward to Mondays. He says, when I don't, I'll call you. I was like, shit, here I am offering advice as a businessman to a self-employed person who's telling me, he's like, bro,
perfectly
I'm good.
happy. This guy that I was talking to,
Yeah,
perfectly happy, telling me
yeah,
gets to go home, and it's like, hey guys, you could be perfectly happy.
yeah.
You
Like
could.
there's,
You don't need to stress about all the other stuff, but
yeah.
also understand there's a trade.
Hmm.
There is a trade. You, you don't really get to have people around you that will work for you because you know everything. You
Yeah.
won't pay them well because, well, you're
You're gonna
self-employed. You
do,
can't
yeah.
employ other people. You probably haven't built your business to where it's actually legitimate, that it could actually write a check and do all the back taxes and all the employment stuff and everything that go like, so you,
There's a trade-off. Yeah.
it's a
Like
trade-off.
I'm going to
Also
Bahamas
means,
weeks
also
because my
means,
staff is there, you know?
well, hold on. It also means you can't run your mouth either and talk
Uh,
like you're somebody.
that's
Now
true.
that's where people like me and Nick draw the lines. And
Uh,
that's when we start getting offended. Like, hold on, guy. We
yeah.
realize,
Yeah.
cool, you can be self-employed and it's a great life.
And you've
Just
created a good life
realize that
for
it
yourself.
is it is
But
capped, and you
yeah.
have certain only things that you can. It's a great place to be.
Hmm.
Great place to be. But go be happy. Be there. Clean some cars and enjoy your life.
But there is a ceiling.
Just understand there's a ceiling. And understand
Yeah.
it at 46, at
That's,
50, you're not going to want to reach down
yeah.
and
Pick
clean.
up a
You're going to
polish.
want a way out. You're
Yeah.
going to want something else to do.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
true.
if you do want to be somebody like that, you do have to understand it's almost like baptism. I mean, you do have to commit. You have to say, this is what I want.
Time to get dumped.
And I got to get dunked into it. If not,
100%.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Stay self employed. Be
Yeah.
happy. Be there. Have friends,
Yeah.
right?
It's true. Like it
You
depends.
become a business owner, you don't have friends.
Yeah, my 100%. It's so funny you say that. I was talking with my wife the other day, and she said, you don't really hang out with a lot of guys. I said, well, sometimes, And she says, no, but I mean like friends. I was like, me and Nick are friends. She's like, when the last time you saw him? I was like, I don't know. We hung out like 2 years ago. We went for dinner or something. She's like, that doesn't count. I was like, it counts. And I said, listen, he's busy, I'm busy. She says, how do you run a business with somebody every day, but you guys have only had dinner like once in the last 2 years? I said, because we don't do dinners, we do business.
It's not what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. I send him WhatsApp messages, he sends me WhatsApp messages, we get shit done. That's what we do. And she said, don't you want more? And I was like, not really. Like, if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, sure. If I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, he's gonna want more. He's gonna be like, Sean, what's going on? But we can run a business very fluidly, I find, online, minimal communication. We just get shit done. We're doers. We're not big. Let's sit and have a meeting. Let's have some Starbucks. Let's just. We're not getting shit done. We want to get shit done. And what we do is we motivate and we execute the people that need to do stuff. We have an army of people. We employ them to go do something. That doesn't take a lot of action. It takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of planning, things like that. These kinds of things, but they're the ones doing the actual shovel lifting. We're just telling them where to dig the holes. You know what I mean? So it's a different level of execution. It's kind of like we're with the game board of I don't know, pick a game, life, Monopoly, doesn't matter, whatever it is. We're looking at the board and telling people where to move the pieces and stuff like that. That's the life we want. But it means it comes with a lot of sacrifice. Like I don't see my, family necessarily as much as if I was self-employed. But also if I was self-employed, I wouldn't also have a lot of the other joys that I can have. Like my wife hasn't looked at a price tag in a store in probably 20 years, and that reward has come with a lot of sleepless nights. I have bags under my eyes right now. I enjoy what I do. And in the words of my buddy, who's the realtor that is self-employed, I look forward to Monday. Every week, I look forward to Monday. If I hate Mondays, I switch gears into something else. But still, as a businessman, I think that's the key takeaway is like, and for me, it's a matter of I would rather make 5% off somebody else's back versus 100% off my own. That's just what it comes down to for me. I don't know what it is for other people. I know some people want to be home by like 5 o'clock and they want to da 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 da. I'm literally recording this with you during dinner time, and I'm good with that. I'll eat when I'm done, when I'm ready. Scarf some food in my face. Maybe I'll watch a movie. Maybe I'll go in the hot tub. I don't know. Who knows what my plans are? But reality is, I have certain things in a day I want to accomplish, and my wife understands that. She has a very good life because of it, and we have an understanding. It's the quality, not the quantity. But some people they want the quantity and quality. Self-employed. It for me, it's just different strokes.
Yeah.
But if you're in a certain lane, I don't think that you should be necessarily speaking out on someone that's in a different lane, And I see that a lot where, like, fortunately, my group is really good with not tearing people down and stuff like
Oh, that's the best.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And that's what
absolutely.
doesn't make sense, right? Why would you ever be in a group tearing another
For
company
people,
down or somebody else that can't
it's
defend themselves?
crazy.
Like we
Yeah,
don't allow that in our group either.
absolutely. Like, listen, I'm a big, huge fan of hyper clean car care products. Absolutely. They work well, they're priced economically, they have a good mission behind them, they've got great founders. But that being said, I'm not going to knock somebody if they use something else or something like that. It's not like, well, you didn't buy the territory. I don't know. Yikes. It's not that kind of vibe. But will I encourage you to use something or try something? Absolutely. But I've seen that too, where, people come in a group and I saw, one recently and people were hoping your products weren't great, which they were severely wrong. But why people navigate to that kind of direction first, I have no idea. And
Mhm.
I think that the biggest thing is people need to figure out what they want in life, figure out what lane you're in, and you're going to be more successful in that lane if you stay in that lane. So me, I made a decision a while back. I was we had a very successful web design company. It was doing really well. I realized I was spending so much of my time diagnosing people's problems, solving their dream, and not pursuing my own. So I
Mm.
made the switch and I said, let me make the switch. Let's start building software that I want to build. We launched our tourism company. It was doing extremely well. We were in airports, all kinds of things prior to us selling it before COVID. But for me, I was doing things I wanted to do. I was looking forward to Mondays. And I think that's a key takeaway is look forward to Mondays. And people that aren't, I feel bad for them. But if you are happy with whatever life you chose and whichever path, I think you have to also recognize your limitations there. Where if I was self-employed, I wouldn't feel qualified to speak on someone's life or give advice to someone that is not self-employed, someone that has a business, for example, with staff and payroll and all kind of things. It's a very different breed of business in a way, and vice versa. Someone who's like myself, shop owner, multiple employees, we have 7 businesses. What kind of advice can I give to a self-employed person? We don't live the same life. We just don't. I can give you advice, sure. Is it going to apply? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Like if I tell you, like you're obviously self-employed because you want to have the other perks. You want to clock out early, choose what jobs you take, what jobs you don't, what fires you put out, what fires you don't. I don't have that luxury.
It's a great life. Yeah. Sounds awesome, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds awesome. It really
Yeah.
does. Like in some ways, for me, I think boredom would kill me, to be honest. I think I need more out of life, but not to say that that's not fulfilling for somebody. Just for me, I would probably feel stagnant. I would feel like I'm not doing enough, you know? It just, I don't know. Me, like, I love a team environment. I'm not necessarily a team player per se by personality traits, but I love a team environment where I can move pieces on a chessboard. That's the kind of stuff I like, you know? Which, you know what, is going to lead me into my tip actually, because recently this happened. I was doing some research. I feel like Marshall implanted something in me. Pause. But not in that way. This is off the clock, but not in that way. Marshall's like, and goodbye. But no, I feel like he implanted an idea in me, like Inception. We had a podcast a while back. For those of you that keep up with the seasons, where we were talking about Michelin tires, and for some reason recently, I think for that reason, I started doing research on Michelin tires, and I realized through my research that they had a genius idea, which I never connected the dots to, by the way. I'm a cook, I'm a chef, I love cooking, and I never connected the dots between Michelin Tire Company and Michelin stars. Those pieces, I don't know why I thought Michelin star was something else, maybe someone's
This is
last
so
name.
random, yeah. It's
So
just so
random,
different. Yeah.
so different, different industries. And so that rabbit hole took me to another rabbit hole, to a rabbit hole, to a fox nest, to a rabbit hole. Yeah, the loop was massive. And realizing that it was the Michelin Tire Company that made these books was impressive, number one. But what was most impressive was their transition, where they made these books, and initially it was a little red book, and it was filled with, you know, maps, cool places to visit, fun facts about cars, you know, different things like that. And they were giving them away for free. And they realized two things. One, the information wasn't being appreciated. And
Hmm.
number two, because it was free, it wasn't being appreciated. So they went to a lot of the shops that they had put these books at, mechanic shops, things like that. A lot of them were using it to like prop open a window to let fresh air in. They were using it for things like that. And they said, Jesus, like we put a lot of work into these books. What's going on here? So they rethought things and they said, number one, giving it away for free wasn't making the book have any value. So they started charging, I think it was like 7 francs or something. So they started charging some money for it. They put a value to it. So yes, less distributorship, but more value attached to the book. That was number one. Number two, they said maybe the content is a problem. So they said, why don't we change the content? Now the whole goal behind the book, because they're a tire company, why would they put out a book with cool places to visit, this and that? They wanted you to drive more. If you drive more, what are you using more? Your tires. If you're using your tires more, what are you buying more? Tires. So they wanted a way to sell more tires. So they were putting together booklets that would help you drive more. Then they realized, well, if we put in restaurants that are farther away, things like that, we do reviews on them. Where's the best steak? Oh, it's 200 miles away. Perfect. That means round trip, you're putting on 400 miles on your tires. Fantastic. They know the tires are only rated for X amount of miles. So that means the more restaurants we review, we can kind of extrapolate that out and say, you're going to buy, you know, tires every 3 years instead of 4, every 2 years instead of 3, so on and so forth. So they started putting things like this out, which also leads me to think that maybe the all season and the winter tires is a scam. But anyways, that aside, because in the province of Quebec, it's mandatory. Winter tires, summer tires. You have to have both. But so they put out this booklet, and that's impressive if you think about it, for the fact that like chefs around the world now are fighting for these Michelin stars that were created by a tire company that was looking to sell more tires. That in itself is incredible. But what's even more impressive is that Marshall and I are gifting you guys with a PDF after this, because Auto World, my shop, is putting together a booklet following these principles from the Michelin Tire Company. And it's free. And you can put together your own booklet and do something similar, because I'm doing it in my shop where we're going to basically put out First off, we're paying for the printing by getting local partnerships that we work with as advertisers in the booklet. But second off, we're putting out cool places to visit in our city, hot spots or restaurants that people might not know about, top 10 fun facts about the city, yada, yada. But then we're also putting out car care tips for 4 different seasons. We've got winter, spring, summer, fall. Different things they need to do. Kind of like how you have that little booklet that comes with your vehicle when you purchase it with the schedule that, General Motors or Jaguar, someone suggests that you follow, at 48,000 miles, you got to do this, you know what I mean? So similar to that kind of thing, you'll have the outline. It's free. It's a PDF. I'm going to post it with this after. You can download that and then tweak it for your city, for sure, of course. And I'll give you instructions if you want how AI can do that part for you as well. So you literally just have to put it together and get it printed. But what we're doing, we're going, and this is the main tip, we're going to a lot of the partners we work with, the primary one being tire change places. So if you live somewhere and you work somewhere where tire changes happen. So here, for example, you have to change your tires every season. Winter's coming, got to put on winters. Summer's coming, got to put on your summers. Those are huge, huge places for us. If you're not in one of those sort of regions where temperature is kind of always the same, first off, lucky you. Second off, hats off. Second off, there are alternatives as well. Oil change places. I remember we used to live in the Caribbean. We had to change our oil twice as fast as we did when we lived somewhere that was colder or experienced variable climates, because of the way the oil interacts with the engine. I don't fully know the chemistry behind it, but we had to do it more frequently. These kinds of high turnover places, those are where you want to partner with. So for us, we have a tire shop we work with, right down the road from us. They see about 10,000 cars a year. No joke. Changing tires all day long. Boom, 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 boom. Sure, some of that 10,000 is the same car twice, of course, different seasons. But that's the reality of things for them. That alone right there, imagine that, 10,000 eyeballs, potentially, seeing this magazine. So for us, we're calling it the Road Warrior Ottawa Edition. And we're putting the year on it because we want them to expect the 2025 edition. They got the 2024, what's coming out next year? That's important. Number 2, we put the Ottawa edition. People move. So for the listeners here that are in other places, steal the same concept. Maybe we can all collectively make the same kind of thing. We can start our own Michelin star of sorts, because I think that's important. And the industry needs something like this. You can get the cost covered from the advertising. You can feature your shop in there. You can put some reviews of local restaurants, different places, things like that. Literally take the whole concept in a way. I break it all down in this PDF that's free to download after this episode. It's all free. Just substitute in your own information. Put in some graphics, you're good to go. Get some advertisers, of course. But the big thing is people will hang on to this. We're going to include the car care tips, the DIY things. No, you're not giving away secrets. They're still going to need you. They're not going to be like, oh, wow, I guess I can take care of myself from now on. That's not going to happen, I promise you. You could tell them literally your process step by step. They're still going to call you. Trust me. They'll probably actually call you even more. They'll be like, holy shit, I didn't know all that was involved
I
in
can't
keeping
do
my
all
car.
that.
Yeah, they're going to call you even
I
more.
tried to do that. That took me forever.
Yeah,
Damn, my back hurts.
exactly. Yeah. How many things we can do ourselves and we still hire someone to do it? Absolutely. So don't be afraid of that. You're not holding on to the Coca-Cola secret or something like that. Just trust, put it out there. But these booklets are going to serve to bring us in a lot of business. And what we're doing, so it's called the Road Warrior Ottawa Edition. And then we're going to have places that are road worthy. Is it worth you getting in the car to drive there? So we're going to review some restaurants. We're going to review places that we know families are going to go. So we're targeting family vehicles. And so
People, if you go to a restaurant and they don't want to be like, you could put also not worthy to go.
Not
Don't
worthy.
waste your time.
Exactly. Don't waste your time. Save the trip. Absolutely. You're going to be on the toilet for 3 days. Like, absolutely.
Worthy and not worthy.
Worthy and not worthy. And
How'd you come up with these? Wow, who decided to give a sponsorship?
Exactly. But you know what though? I think that's a good point, Marshall, is that people expect to hear the good news, but giving them some bad news, like why do people still watch the news? It's full of terrible
Bad
stories.
news.
You know, absolutely. People want the bad news. They want the drama. They want some, they'll probably share those stories more with their friends and family than they would the good ones, to be
Yep.
honest. So putting in those things, those, hey, by the way, I was reading the Road Warrior Ottawa edition. Don't go to such and such restaurant. That would probably get said more than the positive ones. And I think that's an important point. But I think putting in stuff like that and just get creative. Like here, we have a lot of gelato. I don't know why, big Italian community, people love gelato. But putting in something like the worst gelato in Ottawa and then follow it up with the best gelato in Ottawa, something like that. These kinds of things are what capture attention, and that's what you want. It's that attention.
Yeah.
But
And
I
pick
love
like a
what you
gas
learned.
station that then nobody's going to care about. Like this gas station at
Yeah,
45th and 23rd has a terrible gelato, but if you want the best ones, go over it. Like,
yeah,
who
yeah,
cares
yeah.
about some gas station on a corner? Like,
It's so true. Absolutely. See, exactly. And it's those kind of principles you can put in this book. So I'm going to post this after this episode. So you have that free download. You're welcome. Well, what we want is we want to see you guys succeed, but more importantly, we want to see you guys implement these things. We talk about stuff, and if you're self-employed or you're running a business, either way, I mean, technically you're self-employed running a business. What I mean is, depending on your mentality, depending on your state, if you're self-employed or you're a business with, you know, employees, payroll, all that kind of stuff, these kinds of tips can benefit you, but you have to actually do something. Marshall and I will get you to a certain point. Now it's time for you to grab the reins and you got to actually be the jockey. And if you're listening to things and you're like, oh yeah, it sounds like it might work, and you don't employ it, you'll never know if it worked for you. If you employ something, I promise you, you'll see results. And if you refine it, you'll see even better results and better results. This 2024 edition, it's our first edition we're going to be putting out. It might be a success, but I guarantee you it won't be as much of a success as our 2025 and 2026 version. This is just the foundation of an idea. So start with an idea, execute it, and continue to follow up, because these things take time. They take work. They take effort. It's not just a magic bullet. You pull the trigger and then boom, oh my God, I have all these leads I don't know what to do with. You have to actually continually follow the process. But these are things that work. If the Michelin tire company did, I think the first one launched in like 1946 or something.
something. It was a bit ago. Like,
Yeah, it's a bit ago. And now look, you watch Chef Ramsay and they're fighting over Michelin stars, and it's like, how did that happen? It started with that one idea. They built on it. They built on it. They built on it. The first books were used to prop up a friggin' window. You know what I mean? What if they stopped there? What would chefs be fighting over? Who knows? I don't know. The banana split, like now it's the Michelin star, because it started with that idea. They built on it, compounded it over time, and that's what separates those that cannot and those that can, and those that put in that time and that effort. So join the club. Be one of those that put in that effort. Absolutely. And if you're going to do that as a solopreneur, a self-employed person, or a
go for
business
it.
owner,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Put in that work, guarantee the future survival of your business and your family. That's it. That's all she wrote, baby. Check out Pints of Policy Podcast, as well as Hyper Clean Car Care Products. Personal fan over here of Eco One, but there's a whole lineup of great products. Honestly, Fuego's pretty fuego too. Pun on words there.
Fire.
Intended. It's fire. There we go. See, exactly. So
There goes fire.
the only thing you shouldn't do from this episode, honestly, is bicycle from Brazil to America. That's the only thing.
Or maybe you should.
Maybe you should. I don't know. You'll have killer calves. But aside from that, everything else is solid gold. Appreciate you guys. Marshall, thanks for your time again. We'll see you next week, guys. Tune into Pints Polishing Podcast. They have another episode dropping this week. Let's go. Talk soon. Thanks, Marshall.
Thanks.